In 1965, South Asia was thrust into one of its most significant conflicts of the modern era, the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965. This war, often overshadowed by later conflicts, became a defining chapter in the rivalry between India and Pakistan. To understand it fully, we need to explore the background, the military campaigns, the strategies, the political context, and the legacy it left behind. The seeds of the war were sown long before the first shots were fired. Since the partition of 1947, both nations carried deep scars, with Kashmir at the center of their dispute. The First Kashmir War of 1947–1948 ended with a UN-mediated ceasefire, leaving the princely state divided by the line of control. Neither India nor Pakistan was satisfied with the arrangement, and both considered Kashmir as an unfinished business of partition. In the years leading up to 1965, Pakistan's leadership believed the discontent among Kashmiris could be leveraged to wrest control of the region. On the Indian side, Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri was still consolidating his authority after the death of Jawaharlal Nehru, which made India's political landscape appear uncertain in Pakistan's eyes. The war began in earnest in April 1965, when clashes erupted in the Rann of Kutch, a desolate salt marsh between Gujarat in India and Sindh in Pakistan. These skirmishes, though limited in scope, provided the Pakistani military with confidence. Pakistan's leadership, led by President Ayub Khan and his Foreign Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, concluded that India was unprepared for a large-scale war. Convinced that Kashmir could be liberated through force, Pakistan launched Operation Gibraltar in August 1965, a covert infiltration of troops and irregulars into Jammu and Kashmir to incite rebellion among the local population. Operation Gibraltar, however, did not unfold as expected. Instead of sparking a mass uprising, it exposed the infiltrators and prompted India to launch a strong counteroffensive. Indian forces crossed the ceasefire line, capturing strategic positions in Kashmir, and the conflict escalated beyond the valley. Pakistan responded with Operation Grand Slam, a major offensive aimed at Aknur, a crucial town whose capture would cut off Indian supply routes into Kashmir. Though the operation began with momentum, delays in command decisions and poor coordination weakened its effectiveness, allowing India to regroup and resist the thrust. By September, the war had expanded into full-scale conventional combat across the international border. Pakistani armored divisions struck towards Punjab, with the goal of severing Indian supply lines and gaining territory. The Battle of Asal became one of the defining engagements of the war. Indian forces, anticipating the armored thrust, flooded fields near Kemkaran, turning the battlefield into marshland. Pakistan's formidable Patton tanks became bogged down, and Indian anti-tank units inflicted heavy losses, leading to the battle being remembered as the Graveyard of Pattons. This clash not only demonstrated the tactical acumen of the Indian commanders, but also highlighted the risks of over-reliance on superior equipment, without accounting for terrain and strategy. On the Lahore front, Indian troops advanced and reached the outskirts of the city, a symbolic strike that shook Pakistani morale. Simultaneously, in the Sialkot sector, one of the largest tank battles since World War II took place at Chawinda. Here, Pakistan's armored forces mounted a stiff defense, halting India's advance in a bloody stalemate. The ferocity of this battle underscored the scale of mechanized warfare in South Asia, and revealed both the strengths and vulnerabilities of each side's armored corps. In the air, both nations deployed their fledgling air forces, seeking to achieve dominance. Pakistan, with its American-supplied F-86 Sabres, gained initial successes, while India relied on a mix of British Hunters, Nats, and older aircraft. Dogfights became legendary, and both sides claimed victories that boosted morale at home. The Indian Air Force's diminutive fallen Nat earned a reputation as a saber slayer, proving that training and tactics could offset technological differences. For Pakistan, Its Air Force's performance was celebrated as one of the bright spots of the campaign, even as its army struggled in ground operations. Naval operations, though limited, also featured in the conflict. The Pakistani Navy launched Operation Gibraltar, a bombardment of the Indian coastal town. While militarily insignificant, it was intended to demonstrate reach and capability. The Indian Navy, restrained by political considerations, played a relatively minor role, highlighting how naval power was not yet central to South Asian warfare. Internationally, the war attracted global attention. The Cold War context influenced how both superpowers reacted. The United States and Britain, who had previously armed Pakistan, imposed arms embargoes on both nations, a move that hurt Pakistan more severely due to its greater reliance on Western weaponry. The Soviet Union, seeking to expand its influence in the region, offered to mediate, which culminated in the Tashkent Agreement in January 1966. This agreement, signed under Soviet Premier Alexei Kosygin's mediation, required both sides to withdraw to pre-war positions, effectively restoring the status quo ante. The human cost of the war was immense. Thousands of soldiers were killed on both sides, and civilian populations endured displacement, bombardment, and uncertainty. Propaganda and nationalistic narratives further deepened the divide between India and Pakistan. Each country declared victory, fueling myths of triumph that shaped their national identities for decades. For Pakistan, the war was initially portrayed as a heroic defense against a larger adversary, though the sobering reality set in that its strategic goals in Kashmir had failed. For India, the war was seen as proof of its resilience and the effectiveness of its armed forces despite political transitions and initial unpreparedness. From a military perspective, the war exposed shortcomings in planning, coordination, and logistics on both sides. Pakistan underestimated the resilience of Indian forces and overestimated the willingness of Kashmiris to revolt. Its strategy of infiltration and armored thrusts, while ambitious, lacked cohesion and suffered from leadership disputes. India, while successful in blunting Pakistani offensives and mounting counterattacks, also faced challenges in supply lines, equipment limitations, and political indecision. The conflict revealed that neither side could achieve a decisive victory without significant escalation. The war also had profound political consequences. In India, Prime Minister Shastri's leadership during the conflict earned him respect and legitimacy, though his sudden death in Tashkent shortly after the peace agreement left a leadership vacuum. In Pakistan, the war strained relations between President Ayub Khan and his military leadership, while also elevating Zulfikar Ali Bhutto as a prominent political figure. Many in Pakistan viewed the outcome as a betrayal, planting seeds of discontent that would later contribute to political upheaval. Culturally, the 1965 war left behind a legacy of songs, films, and stories that glorified heroism and sacrifice. National narratives solidified, making reconciliation more difficult. The memory of battles like Asal, Chawinda, and Haji Pir became etched in military folklore, studied in academies, and remembered in annual commemorations. In broader strategic terms, the war reshaped military doctrines in South Asia. Both nations recognized the importance of armored warfare, air power, and the need for indigenous defense production. For India, the lessons led to strengthening its armed forces and reassessing its defense procurement. For Pakistan, the embargoes underscored the dangers of overdependence on a single foreign supplier, prompting it to diversify its sources of military equipment, including closer ties with China. The Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 was not just a clash of armies, but a struggle of identities, ambitions, and perceptions. It reaffirmed that Kashmir would remain the flashpoint of Indo-Pak relations. It demonstrated that wars, even when fought with determination and courage, do not always resolve disputes, but can entrench them further. It revealed how miscalculations, fueled by optimism or hubris, can lead to destructive stalemates. Though brief in duration, lasting just over 5 weeks, the war had long-lasting consequences. It influenced military strategies, shaped political careers, altered diplomatic alignments, and reinforced the deep-rooted rivalry between India and Pakistan. Its legacy continues to be debated by historians, soldiers, and policymakers who seek to understand its lessons in the broader context of South Asian geopolitics. The 1965 conflict stands as a modern war not only in its use of tanks, jets, and artillery, but also in the way it played out under the gaze of global powers, Cold War politics, and national propaganda machines. It was a war fought with 20th century weapons, but rooted in 19th century territorial disputes and 20th century ideological divides. For South Asia, it remains a stark reminder of how fragile peace can be, and how costly miscalculations in pursuit of strategic objectives can become.